I almost see no one to be using these effects on text to make them go from boring to dynamic like this. And today we are going to do exactly that within just 12 minutes. So here we have got our text and a very plain background. Now move your playhead to second 1, add a position keyframe, then move to second 0 and then move the text to the right, something like this. Now press Ctrl and C to copy the keyframe and paste it at second 2. Now select all the keyframes, press F9 to easy ease them, then go to graph editor and then change the graph editor to something like this. Now what we have is this. If you feel like the animation is very slow, select all the keyframes and hold Alt and drag the last keyframe to wherever you want it to end. Now select the text layer and add an effect called bulge. Now immediately you will see a circle with 4 points around it. Click and drag one of those and you will be able to expand it. Now expand it to something like this. Then increase the bulge height value. Now make sure your playhead is at the middle keyframe. There add a keyframe on bulge center. Now press U to reveal it. Go back to second 0. Then move the bulge center to the left, something like this. Now select the keyframes. Then press F9 and change the graph editor to something like this. Now this is what we will have. Now if I zoom in, you will see the text is getting very poorly distorted around the edges. So there is a fix to that. Add a fast box blur and we will add a value something like 4. Then add another effect called levels. Now change the channel type from RGB to alpha. Then move these two pointers towards the center. Now do not place all the 3 points in the very center, that will make the edges again more harsh. Just leave some space so it is nice and smooth. The only drawback of this method is that it will make the corners rounded. But if you are okay with that, this is how your text will look. Now we have the primary animation ready. The next thing we will do is make our background. Further we will use shapes. So select the pen tool and start drawing random shapes. Just place them and rotate them randomly, change the colors. Now once the shapes are ready, just place them right below the text layer. Then we will add blur. Select a shape and add fast box blur and increase the value to whatever you want. Then keeping the effect selected, go to edit and copy with property link. Then paste it on the other two layers. Now you will be able to control the blur amount from the first layer. Now the next thing we need to do is add wiggle expression. Press P to open position property and hold Alt and click on it. Then type wiggle. Now here we will put two values. I will go for 1, then comma, then 200. So the first value is the frequency and the second value is the amount at which they will wiggle. Now if I play it, you will see the first shape to be wiggling. Now select the position property, right click, copy expression only. Then select the other two shapes and paste it again. Now here I want to increase the blur a little bit more. I will go for 200. So it looks something like this. Nice. But also you can do all those steps for the gradient with just one click. Select all the shapes and if you have purchased the Gradient X plugin, the link will be in the description. You can just hit apply blur. It will give you a null controller which will have all the properties that you will need. From here we can change the blur amount. And the wiggle expression and values for that are already added, so you don't need to do anything for that. And not only that, you can also control the colors from here. By the way, I forgot to say, all of these properties are animatable, so you can add keyframes for the colors, wiggle, blur, anything you want that is here, you can animate that. Before ending the design for this scene, the last thing we will do here is add an ellipse. In that ellipse we will add a gradient and the gradient will have these two colors. On one end, that is in the center, it will be somewhat of light gray and the other end will be complete black. Now place it right somewhere near the bottom edge and then change the blending mode to color touch. It will give you a glow something like this. You can also add a noise on it and add a slight blur to this, and this will be the final animation. Now right where the animation is ending, that is here, we will trim all the layers related to this particular scene. We will expand the work area and here we will add the next scene. The next scene is very simple. We just need to split the background layer by hitting Ctrl Shift and D and change the background to something like this blue color. Let's lock both the background layers and here we will add our text layer. Let's scale it up. Now right here in the timeline, press Alt and open square bracket to trim the layer. Now we need to pre-compose the text layer. So let's do that and go inside the pre-composition. Here select the region of interest and draw a box around the text. Then go to composition, crop region to interest. Now this will crop the composition to the size of the box we had drawn. Now we can go back to the main composition. Now here let's move the playhead ahead towards somewhere like this and add a position keyframe. Then go back to the point where the layer is starting. Then notice the first scene, the text is moving to the right. So we should make this text appear from the left. So it will look like this text also is following the movement from the first scene. And that is what is called a match cut. So let's do that. I will move it towards the left edge. Then I will add some easing here. And this is what we will have. But we can go further and add an effect called corner pin. This will give us pins in which we can distort the composition. So make sure to go to the first keyframe and add keyframes on all the points here. Then just distort it however you want. If I press U, I can open all the keyframes. Now let's add some easing on the keyframes. Now here I need to speed up the animation a little bit. So I will drag the last sets of keyframe closer to the first set. So I don't think it is matching the movement properly. So I will change the corner pins in the first set of keyframes. I will also change the last set of keyframes for the corner pins. Right now this is where we are. I think I will move the layer a little bit further left in the beginning. Now this is how it will look. Now here I will place the playhead at somewhere like this. Then here I will again change the corner pins and make a different position. Now selecting the keyframes, if I go to graph editor, I will change the graph so that it is sharp in the middle. Now right here where the graph is sharpest, I will place my playhead there and I will go inside the comp and right here I will split the text layer into two parts, Control Shift and D, and here I will write my next word, that is width. Now I will select the word by pressing Ctrl A and in the properties tab, let me expand it. I will increase this value which will increase the space between letters so that it is slightly more wide. Now this is what we have so far. Now we are going to transition into the last scene. For that, we are going to make an exiting animation for this layer or this scene. Here I will add a scale keyframe. Then I will move ahead in timeline and I will squeeze it down in the y-axis, something like this. Now here we are going to again press F9 to add easing and we will go into graph editor and here we will change the graph so that it is stiff on the right end. And if I trim the layer right here where it is ending, this is what we will have. Now next, I will further extend the work area and here I will split the background layer into two parts and I will change the color to a bright gray. Now let me lock the layers of the background. Now these are the content I want to animate in the last scene. Now look at the previous scene and notice the movement it is carrying into the next scene. So you can see it is scaling down in the y-axis, but if you look at the lower edge, it is moving up. So here it will make sense if we do an upward moving match cut. For that I will select all these three main layers and somewhere around here I will add a position keyframe. Then I will move at the starting point and I will just move the layers down a little like this. Then select all the keyframes and add easing like this. Now if you are on the latest version of After Effects, you can select the 3 layers, and if you hit Ctrl and Alt, you will be able to stagger the layers very easily like this. You can also do it manually, by the way. Now you can see I selected the layers in the wrong order, so let me undo it. And you want to make sure you select the layer that you want to appear first, then the second one, then the last one. Now let's stagger the layers, and this is what we will have. Better. Now we can make the background gradient here. We can follow the same steps that we did for the first scene. Here I'm just going to use the gradient X plugin to do it a little bit more faster, but you can always do it manually like we have done previously. So as the final result, this is what we have. Check out Gradient X, link is in the description.